Last week on Legally Kidnapped.
Good evening. Our top story this week, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration urges the state of Florida not to bar foster kids from psych med drug trials. Also, DCF removes a group of foster children from a group home in Tampa Bay amidst allegations of violence amongst the residents. And in South Dakota, the poverty rate hits 13.6%. A bid to create an ombudsman's office as an independent overseer of the child protective industry fails in the legislature of North Dakota. And the Department of Children and Families in Connecticut prepares to ask a court to end federal oversight of its operations, but a new report says that the agency is still not meeting the needs of many of the abused and neglected children in its care. In Rhode Island, the number of families in homeless shelters rises. And in Ireland, a teenage group home resident is spared a criminal conviction for attacking a social worker. Family law attorneys start using Facebook to gather evidence against their clients' opponents. And a company in South Dakota starts selling divorce insurance. In Australia, a 10-year-old boy is missing and his grandfather claims that he is hiding because he doesn't want to go back to foster care. A total of 149 children known to the child protective industry in New South Wales, Australia, died in 2009. And the Queensland Department of Child Safety has refused to correct a file that falsely accuses a grandfather of fathering his own grandchild. In New Zealand, budget cuts take away legal protections for victims of domestic violence. And 800 children in Irish state care have no social worker allocated to them. In Scotland, the number of children being snatched by the child protective industry and put up for forced adoption has doubled in the last 3 years. Things are heating up in England as an Ofsted review reveals that half of special needs children in the UK are misdiagnosed. In Kent County, England, professionals are responding to heightened sensitivities about child abuse by calling in too many unnecessary reports of child abuse or neglect. Due to a severe shortage, a group of newly graduated American social workers have been recruited by the British child protective industry. This is all, of course, thanks to one particular case. And it's gotten so bad in the UK that a father is threatened with child protective intervention if he doesn't stop allowing his 7-year-old daughter to walk 20 meters to the bus stop alone. Of course, they later backed down after the story hit the newspapers. But don't expect too much from the media because the British newspaper publishers are up in arms about reporting restrictions in family court cases. Jodie Foster refuses to talk to police about an incident where she beat a teenager for taking her picture, and the strategy must have worked because the judge dropped all of the charges. In Illinois, a 6-year-old is facing expulsion from school for playing with a toy cap gun on school grounds. And in North Carolina, a troop of brownies collects donations for foster children who are living in group homes, thus freeing up the federal funds that had been allocated previously for that purpose. In Canada, the Calgary mother who recently got her wrongfully snatched son back from the foster care system in Oregon is sued by the agency for the cost of keeping the kid in foster care, but thanks to a screw-up in paperwork, the suit has been postponed for 3 months. Police are claiming no foul play in the death of a 6-month-old foster child in British Columbia. And families are being kept apart and criminals are walking free because of a shortage of BC judges to hear their cases. In Ontario, the courts and lawyers are being slammed for ignoring children's needs and draining the bank accounts of battling spouses in long-running divorce and child custody cases. It is revealed that the foster mother who killed a 5-year-old girl in Michigan was previously investigated after bruises were found on the girl, but she was able to cover it up, claiming it was an accident. The judge in her murder case, however, didn't buy into it and ordered her to trial. In Tennessee, a foster couple was cleared in the death of a foster child after it had been revealed that the kid actually died from a birth defect. In Ohio, the foster mother who killed little Tiffany Sue Banks wants her sentence reduced from 9 to 3 years. In Texas, a boy is suspended from school for having bloodshot eyes. He was accused of smoking marijuana 2 days after his father was murdered, and he was crying on his way to school. A court-appointed special advocate from Arkansas gets busted for stealing money from a bingo game. And finally tonight, it's federal adoption bonus money time, and the state of Texas comes in at number 1 after winning $7.4 million in the great race to see who can adopt out the most kids. For these stories and all the latest dirt on the child protective industry, visit www.legallykidnapped.com. And until next week, this is Baby LK, over and out.